What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Sunday, October 23rd, as we record this. The early odds look ahead for Week 8. My goodness, the season is really flying along. Joining me to break down next week's odds. Tomorrow's news today. John Breech, as he does every Sunday evening. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Brinson, this is my favorite part of Sundays, hanging out with you for 10 minutes. I would not have it any other way.
Do you know what my least favorite part of Sunday is?
Watching the Bengals win all the time?
No, I like watching the Bengals win.
Okay,
I don't know why our pal Colin Bear thinks I'm like a Bengals hater. We just like joke about the Bengals. My least favorite part about Sunday is when I get this YouTube alert. It's like in 30 minutes, the Pick Six Podcast will be live. I'm like, oh, the weekend's over.
Anyway. You would think because you get that alert, you would actually show up on time, but clearly it does not work.
Well, it's my 30 minutes. Anyway, actually, I believe I got it less than 30 minutes ago for this particular show, but I digress. Breech. It was, let's see. I don't know where it is. Anyway, if you want to get your alerts sent to your phone or your computer, go subscribe to youtube.com/pick6 and turn on alerts. We go live after every primetime game and we recap Sunday nights. And I'm told we're going to tighten up the time frame on it, but let's see how that goes. For now, let's get into the early betting trends and picks for Week 8. And we'll start with your best bets, and then we'll talk about games that I think could move. Actually, I'll tell you what we might do, Breech, because I believe that two of them cross over. So we'll talk about that, and then I'll mention the rest of them after the break. What was your first best bet, your first click when you looked at these early odds for Week 8?
Well, Brent, I'm going to mention that the whole picking games was a struggle the early part of the season, but the early best bets 3-1 last week. So we just started doing this. We're on a roll already. The first one
worse than like your best bets like the week before do better than your like actual picks the week.
It is always the worst. But the first one that really caught my eye was Ravens Buccaneers. Ravens are a 1-point underdog in Tampa Bay. We have seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It looks like Tom Brady has lost all interest in football. The offense can't move. They can't do anything. They barely score points against the Carolina freaking Panthers. And it's not like this was just one game. This is a pattern. They have just looked horrible. And, maybe you can fix that in a couple of weeks, but you certainly aren't going to fix all your issues in 1 week, especially when you only have 3 days to fix it because the game's on Thursday night. And when you're 45 years old, the last thing you want to be doing is playing a game on 3 days of rest. So I just really like the Ravens in this spot to cover as an underdog.
Yeah, this is actually, they are a favorite now. It actually moved.
Oh, they are.
The Ravens are -1. It was actually one I looked at and was like, man, that could move towards the Ravens. And I was like, the Ravens pass defense is suspect.
While Brinson coughs, I still like the Ravens, even though they're favorite. I went from 1-point dog, 1-point favorite, and still like them.
Yeah, I do too. I think so too. And one thing I felt like, and I guess I could be wrong here. We'll touch on it more in the recap, but it did feel like sort of anecdotally watching that game that the Ravens got a lot more pressure on the Browns than they'd done they had 5 sacks of Jacoby Brissett. Tom Brady gets the ball out really quick, obviously, but certainly not mobile. And that offensive line hasn't been great. And that offense just looks broken right now. The one thing that would concern me about this Breech is that the Ravens secondary is vulnerable. And Brady was just off. Like he was just missing wide receivers. And like Mike Evans on the very first drive dropped we'll talk about that more, but dropped one of the worst drives you'll ever see. It was literally the worst drive of the season per Next Gen Stats. And so if they can come out, and I think we could see some points in this one, maybe. Wouldn't be entirely shocked if that line crept up from 43.5. Although the one thing too, though, Carolina ran the ball very effectively against the Buccaneers. And if Baltimore, if Carolina can do that, Baltimore might be able to pound the ball on them, and that would be a big problem for Brady and company.
Yeah, and we know the Ravens have the horses to run the ball. And real quick, the Ravens have had a double-digit lead in every single game they've played this year. And if they do continue that run and get a double-digit lead against the Buccaneers just feel like a team that don't have the offensive forces to come back from.
He doesn't look happy out there.
Disinterested.
He looks disinterested. What is your next bet? I believe it's a 1:00 game on Sunday.
Yeah, we're getting off the primetime game. We're going to Patriots Jets. You know what, Brinson? One of our favorite things, and you even got made fun of for this, is that Bill Belichick loves to beat his old teams. there is nothing he enjoys more than beating the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. We said pound the Patriots when they played the Browns a couple weeks ago. Now I am saying the same thing with the Patriots playing the Jets. Patriots have won 12 straight against the Jets. And in this game, you have the Patriots as a 1-point favorite. You have Zach Wilson going up against a Bill Belichick defense. I mean, we saw what Wilson does and what happens to him when he is playing a good defense. He did absolutely nothing against the Broncos on Sunday, but the Broncos offense is even worse, so the Jets still won. Well, the Patriots can play offense a little bit. So I think that the Jets are going to struggle to move the ball. They're likely not going to have Breece Hall because he's likely out for the season.
Breece Hall's done for this. I mean,
there we go. Then I love the Patriots in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, the Zach Wilson has not looked explosive. The defense has been pretty good for the Jets. Bill Belichick hadn't lost to the Jets since 2015. Like, Ryan Wilson tried to tell me, he's like, oh, that's not true. You're just saying that. Like, you don't know. It's like, no, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Belichick hates the Jets, and he likes beating the brakes off of them. Like, he beats them bad every year. Now, look, this Jets team is definitely better than previous renditions of the Jets. Credit for Robert Saleh for getting them coached up and performing at a high level, or maybe credit to Brady Quinn. Because ever since Brady said he would donate $1,000 to charity for every time the Jets win a game the rest of the season after week 2, I think it was it week 3? I don't know. It was 3 weeks ago. They've won every week since then. So we're really going to put the Brady Quinn powers of Jet Jinx powers on display when they go up against the Patriots, a team again they haven't beaten in like 7 years or something like that. I would lean towards the Patriots as well. This is one of the ones that I looked at when I was putting together the lines that I thought would move. I think it was a pick 'em at first. It's already moved to Pats -1. I think it'll keep creeping towards the Pats, and I think you'll see a lot of people very interested in betting on the Pats. The one issue here is will Mac Jones be back, or will it be Bailey Zappi? We assume, like, we just don't know. You don't know, right? We don't know.
I mean, we'll find out because Mac Jones could play Monday. I don't think he will, but I do think he will play in this game in week 8.
I was saying, yes. I was like, wait, did Mac Jones?
His status is up in there for Monday night.
Did Mac Jones play on Sunday? I was like, I swear I didn't see him. Yeah, they play on Monday night against the Bears. Obviously, we'll recap that one. Subscribe, youtube.com/pick6. And if Mac plays, then so this is one too where because the line is already out, but we haven't seen the Patriots play. If they blow out the Bears, this line will go to 3. Conversely, the Bears are playing the Cowboys. And just really quickly, I would note that line, Cowboys -10, will also, like that. Those two lines, the Patriots, Jets, and Cowboys, Bears, will move based on what happens on Monday night. So just be prepared for that. We'll talk a little bit more after the break. What's your next best bet, Breech?
Let's go with Raiders Saints. The Raiders 2.5-point favorites. And you know what, Brinson, this might sound a little ridiculous, but I actually think the Raiders are good. I know their record, and Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are, and they're 2-4. But all 4 losses were by 1 score. They're only a few plays away from being 6-0, 5-1. So I think this team is much better than their record says. Josh Jacobs has been on an absolute tear. He has got 3 games in the month of October where he's gone over 140 yards rushing. You know how many games he had going over 140 before the month of October in his career? 0. Wow. He had never done it. Now he's done it in every game he's played in October. It's insane. And when Josh Jacobs is playing well, that opens up the rest of the offense because, Derek Carr actually has time back there. Teams can't just go try and kill him, which they usually do, and that makes him make mistakes. So I like the Raiders here to cover against the Saints, who just haven't looked that great.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, Saints have not been that impressive. And the Raiders, the power run game for the Raiders right now is awesome. Like Jacobs is he's been fantastic. He looks like a totally different player basically since they decided not to pick up his 5th-year option. And I don't like laying the points on the road, but I think too that this is one where just because of how the Raiders have been in these games, and they found ways to lose, or they lost to good teams. They handled the Texans really easily on Sunday. Houston hung around. But I think Houston's offense might be better than the Saints offense, to be honest. And we don't know what the status is going to be for that quarterback situation just because it's all up in the air with all these injuries. So I would think that one would, if it would move towards the Raiders. Suspiciously high total, 47.5 in the Superdome for that one. Interesting. It's a big number. All right. You got one more best bet on a look ahead line.
Yeah, let's go with the 49ers favored by 2 over the Rams. I like San Francisco, and I am betting on history here. I am betting on the 49ers because Kyle Shanahan has absolutely dominated Sean McVay over the past few years. When we look at just regular season games, the 49ers have won 7 straight against the Rams. Just that Shanahan's so good at drawing up game plans. He keeps things away from Aaron Donald so that Aaron Donald doesn't control the game and become this wrecking ball who messes up what the 49ers are trying to do. And so I think it's going to be a lot easier because Kyle Shanahan's going to have an entire week to devise something for Christian McCaffrey instead of 36 hours. And so that's going to make the 49ers offense tougher to stop. So I like San Francisco in this spot.
San Francisco was one that I would agree with you on that one, given the history of the 49ers and the Rams. And I think the line probably moves to 3. I know that's a lot for a road game, for a road favorite in San Francisco at LA. But I think if you look at particularly this year's rendition of these two teams, the Rams offensive line is its big problem. And, certainly the 49ers defense looked like, I mean, I know they lost to the Chiefs and it was, the Chiefs put up a bunch of points. Chiefs are really good. And the Niners had some pretty bad mistakes. Couldn't really stop them on third down. I don't think the Rams will be as successful on offense. I think they'll try to run the ball. I don't think it'll work out very well. The 49ers traded for Christian McCaffrey, and they admitted too that they knew the Rams were in on him, and that was sort of part of like, it's they wanted him, but you also want to keep him away from your division rival. And we saw McCaffrey, one, he looks like an incredible, like just looks good in that Niners jersey. And then 2, I thought he looked pretty good in the game on Sunday with 48 hours of like a playbook knowledge. He's going to get a full week with Kyle Shanahan scheming up some stuff. I think he'll be a really big factor in this game against the Rams. It'll be tough for them to deal with him, even though they did see him last week. And they're off their bye, so that does help. McVay might have a good record on his bye though.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is that Kyle Shanahan is drawing up plays versus like PJ Walker being his quarterback when he was playing for the Panthers when he saw the Rams last time. And
well, I do want to dig into the 49er or Sean McVay's record off his bye and whether he's seen the 49ers off the bye. Because I mean, there's only so much you can scheme up to surprise San Francisco, who sees you, twice a year. In that spot. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, a few more lines that I think will move before we get to next week. Next. Okay, so I mentioned the Pats. I think the Pats will move. It's -1 already. It's moved a full point. I think it'll move further towards the Patriots. The Jets are a good team, but they suffered some injuries. Belichick is a tough guy, tough defensive coach when it comes to young quarterbacks. And the Patriots offense has looked a lot better the last few weeks. Well, again, if they beat the brakes off the Bears, this line will jump up to like 3+, I would think.
Yeah, I would say the only way it doesn't shift towards the Patriots is if they somehow get upset. But it just seems I don't want to say highly unlikely because the NFL's been so crazy this year, but I don't think it will happen.
The Buccaneers,
yeah, exactly. So I mean, if the Patriots win by a touchdown, they could still
shift up a little bit.
Right.
By the way, Patriots nobody cares about my Survivor League. Sorry, Buccaneers big loss. A lot of people lost them. Panthers Falcons. I think that this total will move down. In other words, my belief is that this number 41. Just because, I think that the double check this. I believe that the Falcons were losing 21-0 very early in the game against Cincinnati, your Bengals, early on, and Marcus Mariota still attempted 13 passes. They do not throw the ball.
You can't get them out of what they want to do.
They refuse to throw the ball. It's outrageous. Carolina scored 21 points against Tampa Bay. It was mostly them just pounding the football and running really well. They had a deep shot to DJ Moore, I believe, right before halftime. Very sort of lucky to even get that. It was a great catch, but not. It's not. I don't think that's going to be a fun. I don't think they're going to be slinging the ball over the place, even against that Falcons defense. And then they had Chuba Hubbard busted a long touchdown or a 17-yard touchdown after a huge run from Donta Foreman. And then they had not a garbage time touchdown. But I think was it a block punt or something, or a turnover on down, something like that. They got good field position, I believe. No, actually, they had to go a long way. Never mind. Anyways, a Tommy Tremble touchdown pass. Like, I just think that they're going to be really conservative. I don't think they'll be very aggressive on offense. Steve Wilkes will want to win with defense. I think this total could creep under 40. So if you're interested in that total, it would behoove you to get on it now, I think. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you want to put up points on the Falcons, you need to take advantage of their secondary like Joe Burrow did, and the Panthers are not exactly built to do that. And because of that, it's hard to see them putting up a ton of points. But the one thing, if you do like the Falcons here, they have scored at least 23 points in 5 of their 7 games. But these two are division rivals, so it's a little bit different where they know each other. So that adds another element into it. So yeah, I mean, I could see the total going down, but I don't like this over under at all. So I would just stay away from it personally.
Wait, did it disappear? Is it off the? Oh, there it is. Falcons, by the way, are -6.5 in this game.
And well, we don't know who the Panthers quarterback is going to be next week either.
I think there's a decent chance Sam Darnold comes back, but I'm not sure it'll even matter. I'm not sure.
Can't pull PJ. Just beat the Buccaneers.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I also mentioned that the Cowboys line will move towards the Cowboys if the Bears. Cowboys are -10. I think it'll move towards the Cowboys with how they played. If in fact the Bears do get dominated by the Patriots, particularly if it happens on the ground game. Because we'll see, certainly, the Cowboys lean on that rush game. Zeke Elliott a little banged up, had a hyperextended knee, I think. But Tony Pollard looked very explosive. And Dak Prescott was a lot better than I thought he would look coming off that hand injury. So I think this ends up closing closer maybe to 12 if the Bears get blown out. Could even get a little bit higher than that. We'll see how that steam affects it. But be cognizant of that when you're watching, going into the Bears game, that when that game starts against the Patriots, that line will be off until the end of the game. So if you want to get it, you want to get it before the game starts, because if they get thrashed, it could be Cowboys, it could be move up quite a bit. I mentioned that the 49ers -2 could creep up to 3. You'd love to get it under. If you're going to take the Niners, I think you'd love to get it under 3, because these games, even though the Niners have dominated the series, they can end up being really close games, like decided by a field goal, just crazy divisional matchups. Any disagreement there?
No, absolutely. These games, these two. I mean, we saw in the NFC title game back in January, close game. Rams and 49ers play a lot of close games, although I guess the one earlier this season I think was 24-9. Wasn't close, but the NFC title game's a 3-pointer. The one before that went to overtime. So yeah, these two teams do play close games.
By the way, I think it's so interesting how it's just kind of worked out this year, where it's almost like there's a thematic setup to the lines each week. This week, it felt like there were a bunch of 7-point favorites, or 1 week, the first week or second week, there was all road chalk. And then 1 week there were huge lines, and 1 week it was all 3 or less. And then this week there's a ton of tight spreads. There's several double-digit spreads, but
well, real quick, the 49ers Rams, 3 of their past 5 games, including that playoff game, were decided by exactly 3 points.
So yeah, you want to get that too if you like. Look at this Eagles fan in the chat complaining about Dak. I don't know who that is. Get out of here, paying him. It's Billy. The Colts -4 against WFT. I can't imagine. I mean, I know Washington is starting Taylor Heineke, and I don't think Washington's great or anything, but they just beat Green Bay at home, and they're catching 4 against a Colts team with a total of 42. And it's a Colts team that just got has looked really, really bad at times. It's impossible to think that they beat the Chiefs. They could easily be 0-6. I would think that line gets under 4. Unless there's some crazy news that I'm missing about the Washington football team.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts have scored 10 points or less in 2 of the past 3 weeks. And their games, it's not like they're blowing teams out. I mean, they beat Kansas City by 3. They had a tie game. They beat the Broncos by 3. Their only win of more than 4.5 points this season was against Jacksonville. And even that was somewhat of a fluky game. So it does seem weird that they're getting this many points.
Yeah, my immediate instinct would be to take the freaking
Commanders.
Yeah, whatever their names are. Yeah, the Commanders. By the way, I'm just looking out on the market. I won't mention where, but I'm just letting you know. The Patriots already -1, -115 at another shop.
Ooh.
The what else do we have there? The Colts. Colts is still at 4. Ooh, 49ers are -1.5 there. That's kind of interesting. And what else? The total is 41 for Panthers and Falcons. And Cowboys -10. Just making sure we don't have any. Just curious about the discrepancies. And Ravens -1. So yeah, I mean, basically, pretty standard setup. But I think those are ones that we think will move, and those are Breech's best bets. We'll be back after the Dolphins and Steelers wrap up Sunday Night Football. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. For Breech, I'm Brinson. We'll see you guys later.